I'm the best at what I do. And what I do, sometimes I just buy way too many action figures and try to justify it by reviewing them on YouTube. Today on Outside the Box Reviews, we are taking a look at the Marvel Select Wolverine figure from the 2013 movie, The Wolverine. So here it is, our Hugh Jackman figure from this summer's X-Men movie? I'm sorry, off on a little rant here. I consider the Wolverine probably the second worst of the X-Men movies, third worst if you want to go and count Generation X, the TV movie from the 90s. If you haven't seen that one, please don't look it up. However, I don't think it was awful, it just wasn't great. I'll probably end up picking it up on DVD. So far, Origin is the only Fox X-Men movie that I've just been like, no, I will not touch that one with a 20-foot pole. I've seen it twice, and that's twice too many. And seeing as Marvel/Hasbro continues their boycott against supporting Fox Studios in any of their Marvel movie properties, we got no Hasbro figures directly tied to this movie, though we did get that line of Legends and crummy, crappy 3 3/4 inch figures and all kinds of roleplay stuff based on the comic Wolverine. Diamond Select, Marvel Select are the only people putting out actual movie stuff for this movie. They have this and they have the mini-mates, which no, I will not be picking up. But seeing this figure in package, I realized that he has the potential to be kind of what the Venom was. Another figure from Marvel Select with just so many display option, posability options that I would have to have him just because it looked awesome. So let's take a closer look and get into all these accessories that he comes with. First and foremost, we have the samurai sword. This is a big plot element in the movie. Basically, dude keeps trying to give Wolverine the stupid sword, and Wolverine's just like, nah, I don't want a sword, I got claws. He's like, no, have my sword, but no, I got claws, dude, it's all good. Oh, wait, I kind of need the sword now, dude. Okay, yeah, sword. But yeah, that was my awesome plot summary of the Wolverine in like 3 seconds. It's pretty cool. But yeah, it's a decent samurai sword. He never really actually wields this in the movie from what I remember. Honestly, the only main characters I remember wielding a samurai sword in the movie really is, of course, Silver Samurai and then Asian female Ronald McDonald, whose name I can't remember. But it's a nice sculpt on it. It's a nice silver for the blade. Well done. I love the handle on it. A lot of ornate detail. A pretty nicely done samurai sword. And Wolverine comes with a crap ton of hands. Here we have his normal hands, which are pretty nice. Nice skin texture on them, some veins popping out, fingernail detail. Now these are somewhat open, so you can actually have him hold the sword. They make such a big deal in the movie about holding the sword with 2 hands the proper way, and it's really hard to get the sword in both of these hands and make it look natural or exciting. It's a little bit of a disappointment. But that's more articulation than it is hand sculpt. Next up, we have our 2 bone claw hands. Pretty cool. I like the fact that we got so many options with this. I love this hand, the right hand, another fist, a closed fist this time. And you can see some great detail on those bones. They look all natural, organic looking, very cool. Paint on it's pretty nice. My only real gripe is with this open hand. It's kind of an awkward pose to begin with. And then the paint and the sculpt got really thick here in between the fingers. And as opposed to looking like it's coming out of his knuckles, it kind of just looks like they're stuck in between his fingers. So, not as good in the execution department. It's also a little warped. I could probably fix that with some hot water, but not as good of an effect with his left hand, which is a bit of a bummer. I do appreciate that they gave us an open hand, something a little different. It just didn't work quite as well. And then, of course, the iconic fisted adamantium clawed hands. These are the ones you really want. These are what you think of when you think of Wolverine. Nicely sculpted, same kind of sculpt we've had on the other ones, but very cool. The claws are simple but decent. Minimal paint slop, minimal sculpting blah to it, but it works. I like them. And then Wolverine comes with a crap ton of head sculpts. We have this one, which is the more passive one, and holy cow, from this angle at least, what a great Hugh Jackman likeness. The hair is really well done, the detail on his face, the shading in the skin is great detail shading in that skin. His eyes are pretty good. Just really, really nice. A really good head sculpt. Now, from this angle, and I'm probably only feeling this way because my girlfriend has been reliving the TV shows of her childhood online lately, and we've been watching a ton of Daria lately, and it kind of looks a little bit like Trent. That's all I'm saying. Kind of has that messed up, swooshy hair like him. But yeah, a great Hugh Jackman head sculpt. I really, really dig it. And then we get a little angrier. We got the bared teeth and a little more angry of an expression. I really like this head too. This is probably my favorite of the three. Same hair on there basically, but just that extra little bit of I'm pissed off, I'm gonna kill you, it just works perfectly for Wolverine. The teeth and gums are nicely painted, great detail in there. Really like this head. The only downside is that mine has a little bit of paint slop here in the back where the black didn't quite cover, but not a bad deal at all. And then what the hell happened? Oh wow, this one not so much. I like the open mouth, they did a good job on that. The tongue's in there nice, that works. It's the eyes. It's like he switched from these realistic eyes to almost anime eyes. They're so big and so wide, and the pupils are so dilated in them. It's just kind of crazy looking. Definitely the worst of the three, and I'll probably not display him with his head often, if at all. But it still is a decent display option, I guess. It's not great. It's not horrible either. But definitely not for me. But come on, look at that detail in his mouth. That is crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I love that. And quite simply, everything that's cool about these accessories translates over to the body as well. It's a great muscular Hugh Jackman sculpt here. Looks really cool. He's got the washboard abs. He has painted on chest hair. The skin texture and tone with the paint is just phenomenal. There's this deeper, darker skin in there and lighter, almost speckled skin tone. It looks aged. It looks a little weathered. Just looks really good. There's sculpted veins. You can see up here in the shoulders, they're very prominent. And on his arms, they're very much sculpted in there. They look amazing and crazy. And just a great topless male sculpt. Maybe not quite as amazing and impressive as NECA's Dutch figure, but kind of in that same vein of just very well done on a very simple character. And honestly, this guy would almost fit right in with Dutch's team. So you want Wolverine versus Dutch, you could probably pull that off with the figures very well. He's got his green army pants. This is all kind of from the prologue to the movie where he's in World War II at the POW camp. Obviously the claws don't fit, but everything else kind of matches that scene. The green pants got some brown weathering up here on the little pockets and back. Not a whole lot more detail on the back, but around the side we have some pockets up here and some more weathering and some brown and dirt on there. My one gripe with these big cargo pockets, and I'm glad they did it this way than trying to avoid it, but if you see when you rotate them, you actually break the sculpt on the pocket. It's not really that noticeable, and I'm glad to have the articulation instead of just losing that for maintaining pocket continuity. But I'm kind of reminded of the Captain America line Crossbones figure, the 3 3/4 inch. I think it actually had the pocket sculpted on, and then the top of the pocket was a separate part that would move with the rotation on the leg. That would have been a really cool detail, and if they did it on a 3 3/4 inch figure at Hasbro, it seems like Diamond probably could have figured out a way to do it themselves. And then we have some pretty plain little jungle boots down here. Pretty cool looking though, I like them. For articulation, he has a ball jointed neck, so you can move up and down, side to side, and tilt. You could also get a little further range. You can kind of halfway pop it on that joint and get an even further extension of the neck looking up, which is good if you want to have him doing like a leaping pose or something. Pin socket shoulders, which move really easily. I was really surprised. Brand new figure right out of the box. All the joints on him seemed very nice and move very easily. Just hopefully they don't get too loose over time, because that's also a bit of a worry. But great arm articulation there. Swivel at the bicep. Nice bend at the elbow, past 90 degrees, which is always a big plus for me. I think 90 degrees should be a minimum for an elbow joint, whether it be single or double jointed. You can rotate at the wrist as well as bend in and out. I like that it's bending on this axis for the claw hands. I almost wish they could have had it bend on the opposite axis for the unclawed hands, because that would have made holding that sword in two hands a lot easier. He has his mid-torso joints, he can move forward and back, not too much either way, as well as swivel. He could also kind of rock side to side a little. I would have really liked if we got a real waist joint on him. I think that would have helped with posing, but we did not. Standard Diamond Select legs recently for the higher articulated figures, so they can go forward and back, and they have the separate joint to move out to the side. As I already talked about, the swivel at the upper leg. Great double jointed knees. Swivel at the top of the boot. Bend forward and backward at the foot. Not as much as I'd quite like, but decent. And then he does have a pretty cool ankle pivot. And sculpting on the bottom of his feet. I didn't even notice that until just now, but sweet. Awesome. I'll be honest with you guys, the main reason I wanted this figure, I think I already alluded to it before, is that I love my Marvel Select Venom. I already know, and I've actually been keeping track this year unlike last year, but that Venom, it's going to take a hell of a lot to unseat him from my top 10 figures of 2013. He is one of the best I've picked up this year by far. And when I saw that Diamond was going this route with the Wolverine figure, and instead of giving us a display base, which I don't really need at the figure stands, but you're getting a ton of articulation and then a ton of accessories, and that was really exciting me. Another figure just like Venom with all this posability and design options with it. I love it. It's like having a little tiny hot toy. You think about what you get with a hot toy figure, you get obviously clothing with it, but you get maybe some extra head sculpts, you get some weapons, and you get some changeable hands. And this figure has all of that. A hot toy probably would have given us a few more options, but come on. We're talking about a $25 figure versus a $300 figure. So I am really excited about what Diamond did with this figure, but I don't love it as much as I love the Venom. And sadly enough, I don't know if this guy will make it to the top 10 list this year. I thought, hands down, looking at the preview images, that he'd be right up there with him. And even as recently as last week, I was thinking, it's like, yeah, comic book day rolls around Wednesday, I'm going to go pick up one of the other best figures I found this year. I already knew he was going to make that list. And he doesn't necessarily. As I've said, I don't really have many complaints outside of the bug-eyed expression on this face right here. But he's just not as cool as I was hoping he'd be. And I can't even put my finger on it. And maybe it all comes down to the fact that I am not as big of a Wolverine fan as I am of the idea of Venom. I really never have read that many Venom comics or Spider-Man comics. I've read a lot more X-Men, and I loved Wolverine as a little kid. I had a huge poster of him on my wall, but I think over time he's just been oversaturated, and I'm not as happy with what Fox has done with him lately. I loved him in the first 3 X-Men movies, and I feel like Hugh Jackman does a pretty good job of portraying the character outside of his height, but I think I just don't have the love for the character idea anymore that I would have back in the day. So, definitely a very strong recommend for this figure. Totally recommend picking him up. He's available at your local comic shop, or you can hunt him down online. By the end of the day, Wolverine is just a great figure that I wish I loved more. Make sure you check out Outside the Box Reviews on Facebook. There'll be a link in the description below. Also, why the heck not? Check out Outside the Box Reviews on Instagram. I've been posting random figure photos on there every so often as well. Other random crap. So you can find that. Outside the Box Reviews is my username over there on Instagram. So follow me if you'd like. And until next time, this has been another Outside the Box Reviews. Stay tuned for more to come, bub.